Hey everyone, this video concludes the confession game series. I'm low-key emotional about it. I hope I portrayed germophobia correctly. If not, please let me know, and I will work toward portraying it more accurately. Anyways, I finally have a Discord server. The link is in my description. You should join. Anyways, please enjoy the video. At Sakusa, guess what? What? How do you not already know what she's going to say? The stupidity is incredible. Be quiet, problem child. It's your turn to confess. Oh hell no, you asked for it. Kyoko added atsumu to the group chat. I will cut your tongue off and make you choke on it if my brother cries over you one more time. Okay, I'll confess. That's what I thought. Inarizaki is coming to Atachiyama for a weekend training camp this weekend. Just by the way, okay, Dumbassy's trying to tell you that's when you should confess. Don't call me a Dumbassy germ. That's it, it's 3 AM, go to bed. The following weekend, Sakusa had been pacing around his room for ages, his eyes flicking nervously between his phone, laying into shade on his bed, and the clock he had mounted to the wall. He had to be at the gym in an hour for the weekend training camp, and nerves were getting the best of him. He'd unlocked his phone, and gone to his messages with atsumu several times before chickening out and throwing his phone on his bed and going back to pacing his room. He didn't know why he was so nervous. He wasn't confessing to the boy yet, just trying to ask him to hang out after the practice matches ended, but he knew Atsumu would make a big deal out of it, as he should after all. Sakusa had always turned down Atsumu's invitations to hang out. It was something Sakusa blamed entirely on his germophobia. And while that was part of the reason, no matter how much he liked Atsumu, his germophobia didn't magically disappear around him. He also knew part of the reason was his feelings for the blonde boy. His germophobia was somewhat better around him though. Although not completely cured, thinking about holding Atsumu hand sent a wave of nausea through Sakusa's stomach, but the idea of holding Atsumu hand gave him a whole different sensation. Butterflies groaning. He picked up his phone. He was about to be late for volleyball. He couldn't put it off any longer. Private messages. Sakusa and Atsumu. Atsumu. Omi, you texted me first. It's not a big deal. I was just wondering. Do you want to hang out after our practice matches today? Which teammates took Omi's phone? Give it back. This is Sakusa, actually. But what about your germophobia? We don't have to leave the school we are staying at. We can just hang out there. If you don't want to, just say so. Huh, I never said I didn't. Of course I wanna hang out, Omi. Okay, I'll see you soon then. Sakusa was entirely unprepared for seeing Atsumu walk through the doors of the gym. He hadn't seen Atsumu in months. Since Sakusa always said no to hanging out, they only ever FaceTimed, which didn't allow Sakusa to see how Atsumu had gotten taller, tanner, and more muscular since he'd last seen him. Basically, he'd just gotten way hotter. Atsumu gave Sakusa a small wave. One that's disposition, shy and small, completely opposed Atsumu's normally brazen personality. Sakusa almost gave a wave back, but was interrupted by his coach yelling, "Kiyumi, move your ass." The day continued on, more teams showing up throughout the day. By the time Sakusa had showered and eaten dinner in his own sleeping quarters, courtesy of his coach, it was nearly 9 PM. Private messages. Sakusa and Atsumu. Have you showered and eaten? Yes, Omi. Okay, my room is 1B, come up whenever. Okay, let me go find my mask, and then I'll come find you. It's fine, just come right now. Omi, are you sure? Sakusa tossed his phone to the side with a scoff, after responding with a short yes, and dug into his bag, pulling out his switch. His door slid open a minute later, revealing Atsumu in a baggy sweater, sweatpants, and, despite what Sakusa had said, a mask. Omi, thanks for inviting me to hang out. You don't have to wear your mask, but I don't want to make you uncomfortable. It's fine. I'm better with you than with other people. I showered again before coming anyways, and I brought sanitizer with me. Thanks. Anyways, I'm ready to beat your ass at Mario Kart. No way you're gonna win, Omi. You can ask Atsumu. I'm the grand champion of Mario Kart. Atsumu ran over to Sakusa and laid down on his stomach a couple feet away from him, grabbing one of the controllers from him. They played for a long time, well past curfew, when all the other teams were asleep in their designated rooms. throughout their time challenging each other in Mario Kart, which Sakusa lost almost every time. Both boys had unconsciously moved closer to each other. They were both laying on their stomachs while playing, their arms brushing, and every once in a while their legs would touch if Atsumu was freaking out about something happening in game. Sakusa was hyper aware of every point of contact between him and Atsumu, but not for the usual reason. While Sakusa usually found himself reeling back at any physical contact he made with others, he wanted to sink further into Atsumu's touch. Atsumu was a very physical person, and Sakusa knew this. The only person holding him back was himself, and although it was something he couldn't control, he still cursed himself for it. "I'm tired of Mario Kart. I think what you mean to say is you're tired of being beaten by me." As per usual with his humorous personality, Atsumu mindlessly ruffled Sakusa's hair in a teasing manner. When he realized what he was doing, he yanked his hand back immediately, and immediately put lots of space between himself and Sakusa. "I'm sorry Omi. I didn't realize what I was doing." Sakusa almost felt guilty seeing Atsumu apologizing so earnestly for being friendly and close with him. His mind was in a battle with his body. He'd been so starved for so long that even the simple touch of Atsumu's hand felt like it did to curl up into an electric blanket on a cold night. However, his mind was anything but at ease with himself, with his germophobia sending warning signals like crazy. "It's okay. Come help me beat this quest on Skyrim." Atsumu took the switch from Sakusa's hands and sat down next to Sakusa, who watched like a hawk over Atsumu's shoulder while he tried to finish the quest. At one point, Sakusa had pointed something out to Atsumu, leaning closer to the screen to show him, which resulted in Atsumu basically sitting between Sakusa's legs, his back pressed against Sakusa's chest. Both boys sunk into the touch. Sakusa, willing his germophobia to stay at bay, he rested his head against Atsumu's neck, hardly paying attention to the game, instead focused on how warm Atsumu felt against him, and the smell of his shampoo. Atsumu was beyond himself with happiness. He was practically cuddling with Sakusa, someone who hated physical contact. "Atsu, can we walk around the school grounds for a little bit? I think the coaches are already asleep, and I want some fresh air." "Sure Omi." The two boys walked outside, around the outskirts of the school grounds. It was a chilly night, and the moon was full, giving them plenty of light to see by. Sakusa stopped walking when they came upon a small lake with a fountain in the middle, far off from everything else. "Omi, what are we doing here? There's something I wanted to talk about with you." "I'm all ears. What is it?" "Well, I guess I just wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For being so patient with me, for staying by my side for so long. No one's ever done that for me. They've always been too impatient to wait for me and see that I'm trying my hardest." It might sound kind of stupid, but in a way, you're really the true first friend I've ever had. Atsumu was nearly in tears. Seeing such a vulnerable and open side of Sakusa was a rare occurrence, and it was even more important to him because he was the reason Sakusa was being so vulnerable. "You being such an amazing person to me has made me want to try even harder for others, to be better for them. But there are some things I don't think I'll ever be able to do with anyone but you." "Like what?" Sakusa shakily took a step closer to Atsumu. He wasn't sure how his own mind would react to this. More importantly, he wasn't sure how Atsumu was going to react. But if there was one thing that Atsumu had made him learn in the time they'd been friends, it was that he always had to try, always had to push himself one step forward. So he did stuff like this. Sakusa pulled Atsumu into a kiss, one hand holding onto Atsumu's wrist, the other curled around the fabric of Atsumu's sweater. Surprisingly, he didn't feel dirty as he kissed Atsumu. He felt right. Sakusa pulled back, his eyes fluttering open to see Atsumu standing there, cheeks flushed and eyes wide open. Sakusa didn't give Atsumu time to think or speak though, instead powering on before insecurity got the best of him. "I don't think I'll ever be able to do anything like that with anyone else. Not just because of my germophobia, although that's definitely part of it. It's mainly because I don't see myself ever feeling this way for anyone else." Atsumu was shell-shocked to say the very least. The boy Atsumu had what he thought was an unrequited and out-of-reach crush on just confessed his feelings. Atsumu didn't know what to say. That could mean half as much to him as what Sakusa had said, but at the very least he knew what Sakusa needed to hear. I'll always be here for you. Omi and I feel the same way. Sakusa looked at Atsumu, just as speechless as Atsumu had been seconds before. Without hesitation he pulled the boy into another kiss. One that both of them laughed against, one that made up for all the lost time, one that made a silent promise between the two of them to stay by each other's side.